Are you into like biohacking and all that stuff?
Biohacking.
Yes.
I'm not sure I know what that is. Man, I live under a rock
All right.
in Georgia, man. We barely get cell service.
First, I did want to ask you. I was just watching on Instagram just about 5 minutes ago. And are you into like biohacking and all that stuff?
Biohacking.
Yes.
I'm not sure I know what that is. Man, I live under a rock
All right.
in Georgia, man. We barely get cell service. I don't, most time I don't know what's going on
No, but
in
what
there.
it was is a guy, he lost 100 pounds. I don't know if he's a scientist, but he's a wellness guru, whatever. Lost 100 pounds, then got his skin removed from his face. And it looks like looks so bizarre. It was so almost grotesque because of black and blue, swollen, and all that. And I was just thinking, it's like, as someone who has multiple earrings, multiple tattoos, is there any type of body modification that you'd say, no thanks, that's way out of my league?
Sounds like that one right there, top the list. Man, I figure, outside of tattoos, I'm just gonna work with what God give me.
At the same time, I was also, like I said, looking and saw your post the other day for $25 tickets for your concert tour, which is
Absolutely.
which is cool. I mean, was that a set price? Is that something that you were like, we got to do this, or
Well, it's like, man, right now we're seeing a time in our industry where, ticket prices for some of these acts, and it's business, right? But it puts a dent in a lot of us, and the average concert goer really can't afford to go to one of these big ticket events and then turn around and pay another $100 or $200 for a ticket. And um, most of our demographic, we want to see them, and most of our demographics not capable of doing that. So we wanted to drop our ticket price, make sure everybody can get there and have a good time, and still check out an awesome show. I mean, I've been doing this a long time, and my family and I are good. Nobody's hungry, and we're able to take care of all the things I need to. So it's not putting a dent in my pocket. It's something special we felt like we could do to keep the live concert business rolling for us.
so now I was looking up local prices when you come to Tempe, I think, in a couple of weeks. The pit right now is 108 bucks they're going for.
Yeah.
So for the concert, what's the better value? Is it the up close and
Man,
personal experience, or is it, hey, just get there however necessary?
yeah, the pit's a party, and a lot of these ticket prices going up. We lose control after once the tickets are bought. A lot of people go in. These there are companies that go in and buy these tickets and then upcharge them. So we can only control what we start them at. But yeah, the pit's definitely a party.
So what
Uh,
goes on? What take me through
a
90
little
minute
bit of
set?
everything, but you never know on any given night. We used to they've kind of chilled out on fighting a little bit. We used to average a good three or four in the pit of show, and now well, we may have. I got my head of security here with me. What, one scuffle, two scuffle? Yeah. So you may catch a scuffle or two, but it's a lot easier for me to interact with people in the pit. They're just a lot closer. I can see their faces, see what they're feeling, what they're not. Part of my job is up there is being able to read the audience and see what part of the crowd I need to cater to for whatever part of the set we're in, and make sure everybody's engaged and having a good time. So the pit's always super close, but I can see people down there. It's really cool. You'll see people that have been coming to shows for years, and a lot of folks bring their kids to the pit. It's kind of wild. We try to get them now to set, if they bring their kids, to set the kids on the barricade. So if a fight or something does happen, they can just push their kid forward, and at least they're on our side of the barricade and they're safe.
Well, as like I said, as a full-time country, as a 15, 20 years in the business, can you spot from the stage the real hardcore Brantley Gilbert fan from the bandwagon jumpers, or who just came aboard?
For sure. But we love all of them. I mean,
what's
we want everybody we can get there.
what's the future? What's the first giveaway?
The first giveaway,
Yeah, the first one, the giveaway. Yeah, he's just a newcomer.
I'd say one of the decent giveaways that somebody's been coming for a while is they'll show up with merch that you sold a long time ago. You know what I mean? They'll have a hat on it's like from 2012 or 2000, a shirt from 2015. Uh, you know, then you get to where they're singing about halfway through the set. They've either sang every word to every song, or they'll sing the old stuff or just the new stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of indicators to figure out who's new and who's been around for a minute.
So with that, like, so, if I was watching one of the videos and I wasn't mistaken, your microphone's got a brass knuckle attached to it.
You never know what you're gonna need.
So is that by design? Is that just for show, for fun, for necessity, or?
That's by design, man. When I was younger, I was a pretty little dude. And I came up playing like old school biker bars and clubhouses and VFWs and just some hole in the wall joints that a lot of people wouldn't go to by choice just to have a good time, let alone to play a show. Uh, and found out real quick that that brass kind of allowed me at least enough to keep people from breaking my stuff. Back then it was like I had two speakers on sticks, a guitar and a mic stand, and if any of that got hit, I'm out of work. So I had to kind of protect my equipment. So it kind of turned into, I kind of started collecting them through the years. And then one year, um, my monitor engineer, Alan Ditch, God rest his soul, came up with an idea. I showed up to rehearsal and he had a set of brass knuckles literally kind of hooked to my microphone. And it turned into be a pretty cool thing. I could I'm a little, I'm a little ADD, so sometimes up there I need something to do with my hands. So I got to figure out how to, you know, twist them, kind of like the old gunfighters used to do with a pistol. Now I could flip it around, do different stuff with it, and it kind of just turned into a staple.
Probably the easiest question of the day here would be, what was the inspiration for the album title? I mean, kind of a no-brainer, but
Yeah,
let's just hear it
a little
officially.
self-explanatory, but man, so all of my albums up to this point, always had a spiritual or faith-based title, no matter what chapter. All of my albums up to this point have also covered a chapter of my life. They've kind of told my story. If you listen to all my albums, front to back, you have a pretty good idea who I am and what I've been through and where I stand on certain things. And, uh, so on this record, we kind of took a different approach. It was like, I went with tattoos because my tattoos tell that same story. A lot of them are memories. A lot of them cover chapters of my life. But if you look at my tattoos, you got a pretty good idea who I am. So, my tattoos and my music kind of go hand in hand. And, that's kind of what that was about.
What comes easier for you now? I guess finding a new inspiration for a new tattoo, or just coming up with song lyrics for your next song.
Oh, man. I'd say picking. Well, they're neither one of those are easy. We're to the point now where I'm running out of room. So not only is it finding an idea, it's finding out what fits the space. I actually just had so on my torso here, I have my kids' names, first and middle, and then they have a clock that reminds me, I don't have much time with them to make the best of the time I have, and then they have guardian angels, but my angels are carrying ARs and wearing bandanas. So it's like, I had to make sure my kids had some badass angry angels. And so I just got my back done for our 4-month old. Had his first and middle done because I was out of room on the front. So his first and middle done. And then under those, I had 2 new angels with guns. So it's a pretty big piece and it is healing as we speak.
I was like, just looking at you, you're probably one of the badass looking guys on in music now. Then I saw you hook up with Five Finger Death Punch, who are a bunch of badasses. Is there
Yeah.
anybody that you've worked with, or just said, you know what, that's a group I would never ever mess with?
Uh, man, I don't know. I'm not really in the business of messing with anybody these days. I kind of mind my own, but yeah, I mean, man, to be honest with you, like when you meet the Five Finger guys, there's tattoos everywhere and all over the face, and it's one of those things where it's like, man, you cheat yourself if you judge a book by its cover. Ivan's one of the coolest, kindest. Like, man, this guy leaves me to this day. Sends me videos, if not every week, every other week, just telling me he's thinking about me and the family and hoping everything's all right. And he's just a great dude. Now, I say that, but if Zoltan gets a hold of you, it's going to be a long day at the office. That dude's like he's black
Black
belt or
belt.
something
Mhm.
in jujitsu. Yeah, he'll choke you with your own shit. but yeah, I'll tell you, we've had the opportunity to tour with rock bands, country acts, a little bit of everything, and there's always some guys in that camp that could hold their own, no
And what is your
doubt.
songwriting process like? Which you sit down, is it a 9 to 5 job for you? You just go sit down, hey, 10 o'clock, I'm gonna start writing something, or
Used to be, I was a lot more regular about it. But I kind of got to a place where I was like, instead of having a really cool hook and then just some kind of filler lines here and there, instead of doing that, you know, uh, as an artist, I kind of have a little playroom to lay back and kind of write, save ideas, and instead of making a song around a good line, have a song full of great lines. Um, so it's my process has slowed down a little bit, but usually, I'll do 2, 3 retreats a year. I'll write some stuff by myself at home. But 2, 3 times a year, I have guys, some of the best writers in Nashville, man, really close friends of mine that come down to the farm, and we'll take 2 or 3 days and write, 15 to 20 songs, and it's always a lot of fun, man. And it's really cool too to get them out of Nashville and kind of get out of the machine that is Nashville. We always end up with some different ideas and just some really cool songs there at the farm.
they all get recorded out not at once, but on for the same album, or do you like hold some to the side and say, you know what, let's revisit these 2 years from now, 3 years from now, and see if we can make them better?
Yeah, I mean, more so you pick your track list for your album, and like I said, most of my albums up to this point told a story. So there's songs in the past that the case may have been not that they were a lot better than another song, it just fit the story more. So we've got a back catalog full of songs that are great songs that if we're making an album and there's a hole for something, I kind of have a really good idea of what an album needs as we start progressing through it. Um, and most of my songs, I have I'm terrible with names, terrible with faces, but I can remember songs pretty well. So usually when we get to a place where we're needing something on the album, we'll try to write it and beat it. But if we've already got something in that space, it's a candidate for that spot. Uh, then it's there till we beat it. And if we don't, it makes the record. So, you never, we try not to burn songs anymore. There's a long time in my career, man, where instead of pitching songs to other artists, I held on to them for myself because I was like, well, what if I need them for the next album? And knowing what I know now, we'll always write more songs, you know what I mean? But yeah, there are a few that are special to me that I'm holding for the right moment. And, that usually happens on every album. We get to a place where, man, this song has made the finals list every time and it just didn't fit the theme for that album, or we didn't need that style song for that spot, for whatever reason. Let's put it on this one. There's a spot for it. So we don't burn them. We kind of keep them in our back pocket, and every now and then there's another artist that calls and says they're looking for this kind of song, and if it's sitting in my pocket, knowing what I know now, I send it right over.
Is that a good feeling to have a stockpile of music to the side where next album's coming out and you're already ahead of the game and not like scrambling to
So
get this filled by a deadline?
yeah, it doesn't suck. We don't play the deadline game much. The timing, the way people are consuming music these days makes the timing pretty easy for us. We're able to watch. We're also privy to a lot more information than we used to be. We can see when streams are slowing down, when traffic's slowing down, and you're getting close to that time. But I write year round. We don't really set these writing retreats where it's right before an album or anything. We usually have one right before the album just to try to beat something, or see if we have that song pop out. But we kind of space writing retreats throughout the year, so we're kind of building and kind of getting our group together that we're going to pick from. So
Yeah. I did want to get a little bit of the sobriety. If I read right, listen right, it's 13 years now sober.
yeah, drink free. I can't say sober. I'm California sober or Michigan sober, whatever I smoke weed. So, yeah, I'm careful about the word sober, man. There's a lot of folks that, man, that deserve that title and work really hard, to be completely clean. And, I'm not in the business of taking anything away from anybody, but yeah, I've been drink free for 13 years. Uh, it's just hard to believe, but it's been quite a different life, man. I can't imagine being a dad or a husband if I was still drinking. There's a lot of folks that are wired and able to do that and can turn it off, and I was not one of those. So um, one of the best decisions I ever made.
Whatever definition you have, congratulations on that.
Thank you,
The
brother.
question I wanted to have was, what with all with I want to say I was ready to say sobriety again, but being 13 years now clean, what do you do with the extra time now? How do you channel all your energy into that extra time that was once, I guess, wasted by hangovers and all-nighters and stuff like that? Where does it all go now?
Um, Brother, I promise you, with three kids and a wife, and we're building a house right now. There is no spare time. I think when I got married, that little thing I used to call spare time or free time, most of it went away, and then with every kid, you lose a little bit more of it. So nowadays, it's more about finding time to get things that I need to get done. More so than occupying free time. I don't have any of that. I don't know what that is anymore.
Well, how do you feel like performance-wise? Do you feel the difference? Do you feel more energized on stage? Do you feel like you perform better, sing better, last longer on stage than
It's a different feeling, man. And a story that I've told a few times. There's an artist by the name of Keith Urban that when I was in treatment showed up and had a pretty long conversation with me. And uh, I remember him asking me what I was afraid of. And at this point in my life, I'm still kind of trying to hang on to the tough guy thing. Like, dude, I'm not afraid of anything. He was like, "What are you afraid of?" And I said, "Man, I finally got honest, and I was like, dude, I'm afraid to do my job. I don't know what it's like to play a show sober, without drinking." And granted, this is 13 years ago, but he said, "Man, I promise you," he said, "it'll never be what it was, but it can be better." And he said, "You'll have more control over, what you're saying, what you're doing, how you address the audience. You'll just have a lot more control." And he said, "It's not the same feeling, but I think you'll find it's better once you get in the groove." And I'll be honest, man. First couple of years, I felt like I was up there butt naked in front of 20,000 people. You know, but now, as I kind of got my bearings through the years, it the thought of doing it, impaired or drunk is terrifying. I don't know how I ever did that. I can't imagine doing it the other way now.
do you have like a routine now you go through, like as far as wellness workouts, anything now to take the place of that a little bit?
But addicts, I think, largely on average, a lot of us replace addictions with other addictions. Working out, I think, is part of that. I'm addicted to my family, man, and I'm addicted to my business, my job. My job's never really been a job. It's always been my life, and these songs have been my life, and uh, spent most of it on the road. The last 20 years, my most fluent life memories are of being gone 3 or 4 days, home 3 or 4, or gone 2 weeks and home for a week. Like, um, so yeah, man, it's a different life. But as far as man, I really do these days with a wife and three kids on top of everything else. Um, I don't really have time for it. I don't have time to worry about it. I don't have time to think back to it. Um, it's a friend of mine is working on some things in the sobriety space. He's working on a new program. It's kind of an alternative to traditional rehabs, and I've been involved in that a little bit. Uh, but outside of that, man, it's really a day to day thing. That's trying to be the best dad and the best husband I can be. Somebody asked me during an interview the other day, said, "What do you want to be remembered for?" And I racked my brain for a good 2, 3 minutes. It was because I was trying to think of a music answer, and I finally just said, "Man, you know what? Like, I've been trying to give you guys a music answer, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter." And I said, "I appreciate all you guys coming to these shows and buying this music and support me through the years." So, but that being said, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what y'all think if my kids and my wife think something different. So, I kind of that's my goal at the end of the day is to be the best dad and the best husband I can be. And according to my wife, I got a lot of work to do on that. So, yeah, we're trying hard at it.
Yeah, you'll always be a C plus. That's how it works.
Right.
You hit the gym a lot often now, or you look like you do?
As much as I can, we're moving right now. So my wife and I looked 15 years for a farm in my hometown and finally found the one. And we had a 5-year plan, and then our third youngin kind of was a little unexpected, we'll say. So the 5-year plan got moved up to a now plan. So we've been building a house for the last year. It's almost done. We're kind of in the moving phase now, moving over to the farm. So uh, yeah, man, it's a million miles an hour.
Are you building that yourself, or you have a whole team with you?
I've got some guys that are helping. It's what's crazy is my wife has kind of provided us with a workout and didn't even know it. She packs boxes until things won't fit. And if we were using cardboard boxes, it'd be one thing because the box would fall apart. But I got these big Stanley tubs for the move, and man, those things
You
don't
can
fall apart. So
you can get a lot in there, can't you?
oh yeah, buddy, I'm talking about it's a curl on a deadlift and a power clean and everything just to get it out of one room to the next. So she's had a pretty good workout going for me. But when we get back on the road, my head of security and I, Jack, have us a little plan um, that we're going to do. I always tote some weights out on the bus and on the road, and kind of just get in where I fit in. It's not like a set routine or schedule. That's something I need to improve on in my life.
Mhm.
It's just kind of a get in where you fit in business model right now of life, I guess.
Mhm. Well, with all this, where'd you find time to add Mojo Bane to your family?
Man, it was crazy. So we were playing a show at Billy Bob's in Texas, and there's a rodeo arena attached to it. And before the show, I've always been a fan of bulls, man. I just think they're cool. And I walked back, and we were looking at some of the bulls, and they kind of stopped us and wouldn't let us go past a certain point. And there was an old cowboy standing over to the side, and he said, "Man, you Brantley Gilbert?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, "What are you doing out here?" And I said, "Well, we're playing a show, at Billy Bob's, and they were over there. There was a PBR event, at the same time." And he was like, "Man, I own a lot of these bulls, man. Come with me. You can check them out." And that kind of turned into a conversation. And man, he ended up being a great guy and um, made a good friend in him. And he said, "Man, you ought to get in on one of these bulls." And that, through the years, we'd had different people approach us, but everybody wanted a pretty penny to get some skin in the game. He said, "So man, you could come in on an up and coming bull, that looks promising, and I'll steer you right when it comes to that, and we'll see what happens from there." So, yeah, Mojo Bones, the man, dude, he is he's a whole ass situation.
So what's your involvement with him? You go check him out. You don't go ride him, do you? Or ever
Oh no
try?
no 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 no! I won't ride him at all. But everybody kind of has trouble riding him, and they're professional cowboys. So no, I'm not getting on him. But it's been really cool, man. We've been able to take the kids to a few rodeos, and they get really excited, man. They can't wait till he comes out, and then when he's kind of in the on deck circle, so to speak, they're looking over the rail, and they know that's their bull, and it's been really cool.
I knew nothing about bull riding at all, anything about PBR. It came to town here, we checked it out, and now I'm watching it every weekend on CBS now. It's super
It's the
awesome.
best. Those guys have another kind of courage, and it's wild to watch in person too, man. You don't realize how big those bulls are and how fast they're moving, and it's it's been incredible. But Blake Sharp is my partner's name, and he's an incredible dude, and he's a big name in that business. So it's been really cool, kind of learning the ropes from him. And again, I'm by no means in the weeds with him on it. This guy makes a living with this stuff, but it's been really cool for me and my family. It's something really cool for us to be a part of together.
I think Coetzel has one owned by him as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, with
You guys,
Blake.
you
Yeah,
guys have like
Blake.
a face. Do you guys have like a challenge or a face off? Who's got the better bull or a tougher bull?
We don't. We don't. We may need to look into that though. No, I like Co. Co's a great dude, man, and I'll never forget the first time I talked to Blake. He was like, "Man, Co's got some interest on one," and he said, "I want one with him." And that's pretty cool, man. Um, so yeah, like I said, it's turned into something pretty cool to be a part of.
Any other sports you're involved with, or any other?
Uh, man, what I tell you what, my manager has me involved in more.
I did want to get into hunting and just food
It's all good. So there's
nutrition.
a guy named George Lockhart. I met him through Jelly Roll. When I met him, he was out with Jelly. And this guy's worked with more world champions than anybody in the fight game doing nutrition. And he kind of comes out in between fight camps, and if he has some time off, his son lives close to where our farm is in Georgia, so he'll come down and kind of get me squared away on a meal plan, and we just do our best to kind of stick to it in between, the times he's in town. But he's an incredible dude, man. He's done great by me, and we've seen some pretty crazy results just based on diet alone. So I'd like to say that I'm learning more in that space, but really, man, my world is a million miles an hour right now. So when George comes to town, he kind of just cracks the whip and gets me where I need to be.
Well, did you have to do anything different for the inked photo shoot? You
No,
look
I actually
shredded
didn't
for
know
that.
we were. Yeah, I actually thought we were just shooting some things for the single with Ashley Cook that day. And when I got there, my manager was like, "Hey, man, we're gonna go ahead and shoot some stuff for the album." I was like, "Okay." I came in a little fluffy, but we made it happen. A little fluffier than I wanted to. I kind of wanted to be cut out of glass for that one.
That's
Just like I say, man, that was, that was 40 years old when, we shot that cover. So, it, you know, I think I was a little thick on it, but Aaron and everybody but my wife has tried to reassure me that it looks all right. So,
all right.
but yeah, it's crazy. Never thought I'd be topless on an album at 40 years old.
I'll ask. What was her reaction?
What's that?
What was her reaction?
My wife?
Yeah.
No, well, I kind of pitched it early. Um, and it kind of mentioned the idea to her, and man, she was actually really cool about it.
So what is in your freezer now? Do you have everything stocked up from where you hunt, or?
The hunting freezer
Yeah.
full of deer sticks. We've got some elk meat still in there. What else we have? We got some duck meat. We had a good year this year. We went to Dave's Bayou down in Louisiana, and went and spent some time with our friends at Mallard Estates in Brownsville, Tennessee. Those dudes are next level, man. We had some great hunts with them, so we were able to fill the freezer a little bit there too.
So the last question would be like, what's on the menu of like Brantley Gilbert barbecue?
Well, man, I ain't gonna lie, we got to have some mac and cheese. I'm kind of a mac and cheese connoisseur. That's where it's at. But outside of that, barbecue. Man, I like everything barbecue. Stew, pulled pork. What else, Jack? All of it. All of it. All of the above.
Something about got it. Your album coming out, concert tour coming up. Anything I should have
Yeah,
mentioned, didn't forgot all about, and
it's all good. We do have a tour coming up. We're about to start the tattoos tour. We got a lot of different supporting acts, depending on where we're at in the country and what time of the year it is. So, I think we've posted the first round of shows. So we've posted this first run of the tour, and then we'll run a second leg in the fall. We'll see what's up there, but yeah, right now we're about to start the first leg of the tattoos tour.